What's up, everybody? Hey, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this, hey, you've seen the title. This is how I got sober. Sorry for the background noise. I've tried to make this video 100 times, but it's a busy part of the day. I want to do it outside and just kind of let the sun hit me and, get some fresh air while I'm talking about this, because it's a touchy subject. Because I know a lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people are in denial with it. And a lot of people, want to get clean of it. And that's alcoholism. Man, starting back from whenever I was young, I always was around people who drank. And looking back on it, it's kind of a weird thing, because in my eyes growing up, I used to hate it. I used to always be around drunk people that were doing dumb stuff. And I always said, man, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like that. As I got older, into high school, I didn't really have much guidance, but I still was around people who were doing bad things, and I always just told myself, man, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to be like that. Once I got into the later years in high school, that's when peer pressure kicked in. And I was hanging around a lot of older kids. When I was a sophomore, I was hanging around seniors. And when I was a junior, I was hanging around seniors, and so, they were obviously doing what older kids do, and that's start to experiment and starting to party. So, me being young and impressionable and not having any guidance in my life, I, took to that as, I want to be accepted. So I didn't really have anybody to explain to me what peer pressure was, to how to avoid it, how to say no to people. So I just went with the flow. Somebody, a friend invited me out. Hey bro, you should come to this party. There's going to be girls there. It's going to be fun. We're going to play games. We're going to do this. We're just going to hang out and chill. And that's what I ended up doing. Ended up going to the party and hanging out and chilling. Drinking, underage, like I wasn't supposed to. And, thinking I was going to have a good time. Well, that good time ended up, in high school I didn't really drink too much, and that was just an occasional thing. It was just like, a party here and there, whatever, no big deal, I wasn't drinking and driving, I was sitting at the house and with a couple of friends, and we hanging out. And then once I graduated high school and got my own apartment, again, hanging around the wrong people with peer pressure, and that was the cool thing to do. When I turned 21, I was hanging around a bunch of people that wanted to drink all the time. So, I had my own place, and people would come over, and we would get drunk all the time. I was always able to manage keeping, a full-time job, and, at this time I don't have any kids, so I'm just, being a young, impressionable young adult, right? And hanging around the wrong people. So in my eyes, I'm not even seeing that I'm doing anything wrong, because I'm 21. Yeah, it's legal. I could go to the store and buy it now. And it became an every weekend thing. Every weekend I'd have people over, and we'd party and kick it, and get super drunk and do a bunch of dumb stuff. Fast forward, that drinking every weekend started to linger into the work week. So then people would be like, hey, it's Wednesday, let's get drunk on a Wednesday to to get through the week. Or I'd have a few drinks by myself just because I'd be at the house, bored. And so it would just go from partying with friends to now I'm doing it on my own, just to relax and have a good time, enjoy the night by myself or whatever, or hanging out with a girl and like, hey, let's have drinks. It's always like an icebreaker, because you can have a drink, and everybody, when you get drunk, you lower your anxiety lowers a little bit, and then you get out of your shell a little bit. And and me not even knowing none of this at the time, I was just like doing what was a social norm. Everybody's drinking. It's on the, if you're going to watch a game or a sports event or a holiday, it's just everybody's like, oh, let's get a few drinks, let's get a few drinks, and it just spirals. It's how it ends up happening for a lot of people. You start doing it harmlessly, just trying to hang out and be friendly with people, and then it ends up consuming some people's lives. Now, I know everybody doesn't have these issues, and I'm not talking to I'm talking about the people to the people who have let it consume their lives. Because now looking back on all that, and it went from, like I said, just hanging out as 21, and then next thing you know, I'm 25 and I'm still doing the same stuff, and then next thing you know, I'm 30 and I'm having my first kid, I'm still doing the same thing, and then I was hanging around more people that were alcoholics, and as soon as we get off work, we were just drinking every day of the week, and then even double time on the weekends because we didn't have to go to work the next day, and it was just a bad time of my life. And at the time, looking back on it now, I wasted a lot of time just sitting around drinking, not doing anything productive, and just you waste life like that. You ruin a lot of relationships. There's a lot of bad that comes with it. You think you're doing it to have a good time, but in all reality, what are you really doing with your time? You're wasting it. You didn't, and like I said, this is just from my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. There's people that get drunk and probably are every day of the week, and they're more successful than me. And those kudos to them people who live their life how they want. I've never been a person to tell anybody how to live their life. I've always been a proponent of, do what makes you happy as long as you're not hurting other people. But I'm just giving my take of what it's like to be sober now, being that I was an alcoholic for over 10 years and wasting a decade of my life, in my opinion. As I look back on it, I look back at all the friends that I was hanging around with, and now that I don't drink, those friends are nowhere to be found. And you think, I say this in a lot of my videos, there's a big difference between your good time friends and your actual friends that care about you, family members who actually care about you, compared to your good time friends. It's like, what's up, bro? Let's go hang out. Let's go get drunk. Let's stay out till the wee hours of the night and get into all kinds of mischief and trouble. Those are your good time friends. They don't really have your best interest at heart, because if something bad happens to you, or you call them for a flat tire and they're nowhere to be found. But let you have a 30-pack or a bottle of liquor, they'll be the first ones to want to hang out and kick it. So those are the people you got to kind of distance yourself from. So back on the subject on how I got sober. I'll do another video later on a bunch of these different topics on what led me to become an alcoholic, kind of what I just touched on, and I'll break it down in the more detailed series. This is just me winging it, just trying to help other people that might be going through it or trying to get sober. So I try to make a little list, and I didn't put it in any particular order, but the first thing on my list is you have to want it for yourself. Unfortunately, nobody can do it for you, and you can't do it for anybody. It sucks, because you can apply that to a lot of things in life. You want people to get clean and get sober and do better for themselves, or eat cleaner, or be healthier, or I try to motivate people to do a lot of things now that I see clear, now that I'm sober. And some people just don't want to hear it, and I had to come to the realization that, man, people are going to do what they want to do. It's up to them to want the change. This is for people that want the change. So if you want the change, you're on the right step. That's your first step. I'm going to go ahead and throw these sunglasses on, just because my eyes are light sensitive and I'm crunching my eyes. I'm getting a headache on my forehead. I'm just keeping 100 with y'all, but I want y'all to look into my eyes and tell y'all I'm real about this stuff. So, man. So yeah, first things first, and that's with anything. You want to live a cleaner, healthier life in general, you have to want it. I could tell somebody all day to lose weight, or to quit drinking, or to quit doing drugs, or quit smoking, or quit doing this and quit doing that. And until they want it for themselves, and it sucks, you could do the interventions, you can yell at them, you can scream at them, you can show them all the bad things, tell them all the cons that's coming with their actions. And, you know, most people, until something bad happens, and that's when they want to change. So hopefully that doesn't happen and this video gets to somebody before they have to experience anything. So that's the first thing. Let's see, second thing, you gotta want it for your family too. You know, like me, when I was getting sober, first things first, I had to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of, you know, being hungover all the time. I'm tired of not being in control. I'm tired of, you know, losing all my money. You know, I'm tired of, you know, hanging around friends that don't have my best interest at heart. And so, you know, that was the first thing. And then the second thing, you know, I'm thinking like, wow, like my family doesn't deserve this. I have children now. And once I had children, I actually cut back on drinking a lot. I was drinking damn near every day at one point in time. And once I had my firstborn son, you know, it opened my eyes. I was telling somebody one day, and I've heard other people say this before, but, you know, I was telling people one day, I was like, hey man, I heard, a friend came up to me and said, hey man, I heard you're having a kid. I'm like, yeah man, I am. It's gonna be awesome, dude. He's gonna be just like me. I'm gonna dress him like me. I'm gonna cut his hair like me. He's gonna, you know, be a better version of me, because I'm gonna be able to, you know, walk him through life and show him the things not to do to help him, you know, not go through the pain and struggle that I went through. So I was all excited, and then I got to thinking like, damn, I don't want him to be like me. Look at me. I drink all the time. I'm partying. I'm doing some drugs at that time. I'm doing, you know, smoking cigarettes at that time. I'm just eating unhealthy, fast food 3 times a day. All the bad stuff. And I was just like, didn't even know I was doing it, because the people that I was around were all doing it. So it was like nothing, you know. It was like nobody sat there and even blinked an eye. Let's put it like that. So, man, so when I really put that into perspective and I really thought about it, like, you don't want your kids growing up the way you grew up. I grew up around so many alcoholics that were doing bad things and just being ignorant and mistreating their children and doing this and that. And I've never been like that. I've never even drank around my kids. Even when I can continue to drink after they were born, I cut back a lot, but I didn't quit. You know, I just wouldn't drink around them, or I would only drink whenever they were at the babysitter and stuff like that. But, you know, I mean, that was better than nothing. But when I look back on it, I wish I would have just got sober right then and there. It would have saved me so much, you know, money, time, energy, and headaches. You know, tired of being sick and hungover. You know, I'm 35 now, so, you know, when you get hungover, man, it's the worst. But, you know, having that want to better yourself, so that way your family can, you know, you'll make your family proud. Let's put it like that. Since being sober, my family's been so proud of me. They've been wanting this for me the entire time I've been drinking, because when I would drink, I would turn into a person that I wasn't. It all started out fun and games the first hour, 2 hours of drinking, or 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours of drinking. It'd all be fun and games until that I would get blacked out drunk, not even knowing, not even purposely doing it, just having a good time. And, you know, next thing you know, I'm acting like a completely different person than what I would normally act. Completely different, just mean, just rude, you know, start fights with people for no reason, accuse people, you know, just do all kinds of weird stuff. And I'm like, and then I would have to wake up in the morning with being like, what happened? Like, get told to me what happened, and the people like, yeah, bro, you were trying to fight this guy for no reason last night, or you called your family member out of their name and you started cussing at them for no reason, or you know, had a lot of hate in your heart, pretty much. And like, that ain't who I wanted to be. And, you know, there's been countless times where I've done that, and I never took self-accountability. I was just like, it won't happen next time. Next time I'll control myself better. And you tell yourself that because that's what you truly feel in your heart. But what people don't realize is that when they're drinking, their brain totally, you know, shuts down, and you're poisoning your body. So you're not in control anymore. And so that leads me to my next thing. You need to have self-accountability for your actions. If you're doing ignorant things and things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, or you're getting in trouble, or you're starting fights with people, or you're ruining relationships, and you're puking, or you're spending all your money, or you're sleeping with people that you didn't wish you slept with, or just whatever, just doing things that you're not supposed to do, putting yourself in harm's way, doing things that aren't elevating your life, doing things that aren't positive in your life. And you're bringing all this negative harm and energy to yourself for no reason. And you have to have that self accountability. A lot of people don't have it, unfortunately. A lot of people can't look in the mirror and tell themselves, like, I fucked up, I did this, I've done that, I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm serious this time. Well, again, you got to want it. You got to want it for your family, but you got to have self accountability, because a lot of people are in denial. A lot of people say, I ain't no alcoholic, I just drink every once in a while, or I don't drink that much, I'm good. If you even ask a person, like, how many drinks do you drink, they're not going to tell you the truth, because who's counting? When you're having a good time, you're not counting how many drinks you're drinking. You're just drinking to have another one, bro, have another one, bro, have another one, bro. And next thing you know, you're passed out on the floor and everybody's laughing at you. Or anybody who's been a heavy drinker have had all these things that have happened to them, guaranteed, because there's no perfect person that just gets drunk every time and there's no problems ever. There's always problems. They just won't admit it, or or they will admit it, and they think it's funny. Like, oh yeah, bro, I puked all over the place last night. Let's do it again. Or, oh, bro, I passed out on the lawn, or and they make jokes of it and make light of it, instead of being like, wow, bro, you got issues. Like, what are you doing that for? So that's the thing. You don't need alcohol to have fun. I've realized this now. Like, I used to think I had to have alcohol to have fun, and now being sober, I go out and do some of the same stuff I was doing, and without drinking. I'll go bowling and not drink. I'll go to the movies and not drink. I used to drink when I wanted to do anything. Go to Six Flags, go to like the theme parks, and drink before I go, and like it was all like dumb because I thought I was being cool, when all reality I wasn't. It was lame. It was super lame. And, I could go on float trips and go camping without drinking, and it's just as fun. You just have to find other things to do. Like, I keep my mind busy with other activities. When other people are drinking, I just drink water, and then people are like, oh, you want to have a beer? No, I'm good, bro. Like, I don't drink. And then most people are actually cool about it, but you will have those people that are like, oh, come on, just one. You just got to be stern. You got to tell them no, not be afraid to let them know, like, no, I don't drink anymore. Hey, I don't mind if you do, but, and then stand on it, and show them. And it might be uncomfortable for them, because, they want you to partake in something they're doing, so that way they don't feel bad about what they're doing. Most people, if there was a group of people, scenario situation, if there's a room full of people, let's just say 20 people, and nobody's drinking, but they had an open bar, but nobody's drinking. If there was one person getting drunk, the other people are gonna, but one person probably wouldn't even want to drink because nobody else is. And so it's the same thing whenever you're in a room full of a bunch of people that are drinking and you're not. Everybody's like wanting you to do what they do, and it's, you gotta just stand on business and know what's right for you. So me, I don't have a problem. I could be around 100 people that are drinking and tell them no, and I don't care what they think about me or what they care about me. That's the one thing you got to start doing, is not caring what other people think. You're going to have friends. You're probably going to lose friends. You're going to lose family members, whatever. Because whenever I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit doing drugs, all of a sudden I started losing friends left and right, left and right. Oh, you don't smoke no more? All right. Oh, you don't do this no more? No. You don't drink no more? Oh, no. Okay. Then you just stop hearing from them, It's just like, if you were to become rich tomorrow, everybody would want to be your friend. You'd have cousins that come out of the woodwork. But since if you're not rich, then, or whatever, then people just, you guys know what I'm saying. It's just a weird thing that people do, and so it's a group mentality thing. If everybody's doing it, they want you to do it, and then if you don't, some people get butthurt. I've had people get mad at me for not wanting to drink with them anymore. Like, they felt it like I was disrespectful to them, or I was like thinking I was better than them, and then that has nothing to do with it. And then I try to tell them, like, hey man, this is why I don't drink no more. I'm tired of, like, even my own friends that I've been rude to when I got drunk with or had a bad time with, and they were like, bro, you act crazy when you get drunk. You act stupid as hell when you get drunk. Them the same people that would invite me to keep going and keep coming over to the house and getting drunk, which is crazy. And I'm like, bro, you know how I am. You know why I don't drink no more. You know I get fucking dumb and act stupid, and then there's no controlling me because I'm not in control. And, and you're, oh yeah, bro, it'll be all right. We just won't drink that much. No, you're not going to stop me from drinking because you're not controlling what you're drinking. So within an hour, we'll both be back to the same thing. No, I'm not doing it. And they get butthurt or whatever, but hey, like I said, I'm to a point in life now, and you'll get to a point in life, no matter what age you are, you'll eventually get to a point in life where it's like, it doesn't matter what other people think. You're doing it for yourself. You're bettering your life. And whoever don't want to come along on that path, they got to get up out the way. I don't care if it's my mom. I don't care if it's my co-workers, my friends, my best friends I've been friends with 10 years. Bro, if you ain't on while I'm on, go on the other way, because I ain't trying to have nobody pulling me down and trying to see me, slip up. Because that's what people be wanting you to do. They want to see, he don't got the willpower. He don't have discipline. He'll mess up. Watch this. Hey, bro, you want to come get drunk? I'll pay for it. All drinks on me tonight. Like, no, come on, bro. You want to turn down free drinks? Yeah, I'm turning down free drinks. They'll try to bribe you with all kinds of, just so they can, behind your back, them same friends will go behind your back and be like, I knew his ass wasn't going to stay sober. I knew he was going to slip up. And you got to show them off. You're in control. They don't have control over you. You got control over you. You got to be fine with losing a few people. I am. Anywho, let's move on. Let's see. You gotta find a purpose in life, and it's hard to do because and that's a whole nother subject I can get on. But yeah, just finding a purpose in life is a hard thing to do for some people. Some people, they're born with it. They already know they are. They're artistic. They want to be an artist when they get older. They want to be a tattoo artist, or they want to create sculptures, or they just have that artistic skill. And some people are really good at putting words together, and they know they want to be a musician or an artist or a music artist, or some people are just born with that, have that purpose, and other people they gotta dig for it. So, and I think that's one of my biggest problems with alcoholism, was not having a purpose. So I would just lean on the alcohol to change my to block out the reality of not having a purpose, and then just be like, well, I'll just hang out with all these other people who don't have purpose, and then we'll all just sit around and pretend like this is reality, when in all reality it's not. It's just your made up, your drunken mind thinking that everything's all fine and dandy, when really it's not. And so that's what I say just find purpose. You just gotta, when you get sober and clear minded, and you get away from the negativity and the alcohol, the drugs, the cigarettes, the fast food, all the bad things you're putting in your body, your mind starts to heal itself, and it starts to clear itself. Your body, man, human body is amazing, and it doesn't matter how long you've been drinking, or how long you've been smoking, or how long you've been doing things. Your body will adjust and adapt, and it will change, and it will start to heal itself the moment you put the drink down. Your liver will start to repair itself. There might be irreversible damage that you've done, but that ain't nothing. You can as long as you're not too far gone, there's always change. There's always a chance to reverse it. So I suggest people stop as soon as they can, and try to save yourself so you can live longer, man. That's another thing that people don't realize. People don't realize what can happen to them until it happens. People live their day-to-day lives just doing whatever because it doesn't kill you immediately. It doesn't. You're poisoning your body in microdoses, so you don't know the later outcomes of it. And people will tell you. People will tell me all the time, hey, you might get cirrhosis of the liver if you keep drinking. You might get high blood pressure if you keep drinking, all this stuff. And whatever, ain't gonna happen to me. And guess what? I just found out a guy that I drank with that just still drinks, that he ended up getting cirrhosis of the liver. About 2 or 3 people had cirrhosis of the liver scares, but one dude actually was diagnosed with it, and man, he is not looking good. He looks completely different. His body has changed. His face, it's going to be a slow, miserable death, unfortunately for him. And I kind of feel slightly guilty because, but at the same time, he was the one peer pressuring me into drink, but I was partaking in it, so it was like making it fun for him. I was there drinking with him. He had been drinking, he was an older fellow, so he's been drinking a lot longer than I have, so, but just looking at the people's health consequences of just constant drinking. You see them with the beer belly. You want to have a beer belly when man, come on. If you have a beer belly, you can lose it. You'd be surprised how much weight you'll drop and how much your body will change once you stop drinking. You don't have to live like that and just walk around bloated all the time and gassy all the time and have that stinky beer breath. That's the thing. People don't even realize what they smell or act like whenever they're doing it, because You know, you just don't, you know, you're not, those aren't things you're looking at. But like when I'm around people that are drinking, it makes me want to puke now. Like even the smell of alcohol. If I see alcohol, really, it just makes me cringe. But yeah, just, that's the thing right there. When I see other people doing and acting a certain way, I'm like, damn, I used to act like that. Ugh. Damn, I used to smell like that. Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, damn, look at that guy. His wife just left him because all he did was drink every single day. Damn, like, you know, these are all like consequences of people's actions that, you know, you don't think at the time when you're getting drunk. You know, nobody expects to, you know, get blacked out and do some dumb shit, or, you know, get a DUI, or get, you know, or you get your license taken, or you lose your job, or just all the things that could happen from just being a fucking, like, being drunk. And it's sad. You know, Pete, there's a word that I looked up that it's basically a term that this is for, it's called knifalobia. I don't even know how to pronounce it, bro. It's like knifephobia. Knifalobia phobia. Something like that. So it's NIFALOPHOBA. And it's basically the fear of not having that alcohol or that drug. Like you don't know what you're gonna do without it. Like people get to like when they start to think about getting sober, like, well, what else am I gonna do? What am I gonna do if I don't have alcohol? Like, what do I have? And they start getting in a panic mode, and they just don't know what to do with themselves. My suggestion to that is to find a local gym. If you got enough money to buy a 30-pack every night, or an 18-pack every night, or a bottle of liquor every weekend, you have the money to afford a gym membership for $40 a month, $30 a month, $100, you know, whatever it is in your area. Or you could go to go on Amazon and order some weights for $30 and get them shipped to your house, or go to Walmart and pick up some weights and get them shipped to your house. Because I'm gonna say that's the number one thing that helped me get sober, was getting super focused on my health and, you know, going to the gym. Like once I started going to the gym, I started surrounding myself with other people that are like-minded at the gym. And don't get me wrong, there are people that work out and still like to hang out and party on the weekends, but those are the people who also don't get results. They, you know, you see them work out week in and week out, and they don't look like they really gained much muscle at all, or they don't look like they're really in shape at all. And you wonder why, and then it comes down to it, like, yeah, bro, I got hammered this weekend. I went to play Topgolf, and, you know, we got super drunk and we ate a bunch of shitty food. Well, you just ruined a whole week's worth of progress, you know. So, but I do say that, like, just going to the gym, because, you know, typically, like I said, I wouldn't have no purpose. So a typical day, I'd get up, go to work, get off work, and then I'd get some alcohol, and then go home and just get drunk with other, you know, call up some buddies in the neighborhood, and we'd get drunk. And now what I like to do is get up early, go to the gym, then go to work. And then when I get off work, after getting to the gym, the last thing on my mind is alcohol, because I done put myself through a world of you know, pain and whatever, you know, at the gym. But it's a good feeling though, because you're drunk and high off life when you get out of the gym. Getting to the gym's the hardest part, and I'll make a whole nother video on that. But yeah, getting to the gym's the hardest part. Once you get in there and you take some, you know, drink some pre-workout like some C4 or whatever your favorite energy drink is, and then you got some good music going on. And at first it's gonna suck, especially if you're, you know, detoxing off of alcohol or drugs, man. Like, it's gonna kind of suck, because you're just like, your body's not gonna be used to it. But little by little, you just start getting better and better. I went in there, I had no idea what to do. I didn't know how to use the machines. There was no personal trainers in there that were like really helpful. And, you know, but you just keep going, and you keep going, and keep going. Then once you get done having a good workout, and you get off that treadmill, and then you leave the gym, and you're just like, you feel like you're on top of the world. You would think you would have less energy, like you'd be tired, but no, you leave there and you're full of energy. I'm ready for the work day. When I go to the gym before I go to work, I get to work and I'm fired up. Everybody else is still getting sleep out of their eyes. They're moping about, can't, they're so tired and blah, blah, blah. And I'm loose as a goose. I didn't stretch. I don't got an hour, 2 hour workout in, 45-minute workout in, whatever you can manage. I don't care if you got to just wake up and do push-ups in the morning, if that's all you got. You can figure something out. The gym, man, that just helps so much. So, like I said, say no to peer pressure. Don't let other people convince you off of your path, because people will do it. They don't like to see other people better themselves. They want it because then it makes them look bad. So, and it makes them uncomfortable. So they would want other people to do what they're doing, so that way they don't have to have any self-accountability. And you're not going to be like that. You're going to be set apart, and I'm going to show you all the ropes on how to do it. So if I could do it, y'all could do it, because, man, I didn't even know I had an addictive personality, but because I've never really, I can't say I've ever been addicted to anything, but I've always, like, not know my limits, if that makes sense. I would always just like, sure, let's do it. I'm trying to be the cool guy and be the fun guy. And you know what? It's a lonely road when you are sober. You'll find other like sober, like-minded people out there, especially if you start going to the gym. But for the most part, all of them good time friends, they'll go by the wayside, and your true friends will shine when it comes down to it, because they'll be the ones who stick with you, and they're happy for you, and they motivate you, and they don't peer pressure you and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's what you want to know anyways. You don't want to just be friends with a whole bunch of people that aren't, your real friends. Like, a lot of people do that. They rather have fake friends than to be lonely. And not me. I would rather be lonely than have fake friends or a fake woman in my life or anything. So, no, I'm good on all that. So, listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your family, and know that if you need to quit, listen to your family members. If they're telling you need to quit because you're fucking up, listen to them. If your body's shaking and you're having withdrawals and you're hungover and you're like, I'm never gonna drink again, listen to yourself. You know how many times I've told myself I'm not gonna drink again, and then I went ahead and drunk again, and then I got drunk and I regretted it, and I said I'm never gonna drink again, and then I did it again. Like, it's ridiculous. If I would have just listened to my inner self, my inner spirit, your energy, your Tao, your whatever you want to call it, your vibe, whatever people call it these days, that's your conscious coming through. That's your that's the universe talking to you. That's God talking to you. Whatever you want to say, that's something's telling you need to go a different path. And when you try to not listen to that, and you keep falling for the same things, more and more bad things, and negative karma's coming your way, and it's not good for anybody. So, I've gotten a DUI before. I don't even want to. I'll make another video on that. I don't even want to get. That's a whole nother long story. So, and this video is getting kind of long too. So, hopefully people are still here. Hopefully y'all learned something. Weigh out your pros and cons of alcohol. You don't have to necessarily quit alcohol. Unless you really want to, like, be sober and get off of it and you're done with it, then hey, more power to you, because that's what I did. But at least if you're fucking up, I don't even think that there is a better option. Like, cutting back is just going to lead you to, you might do good for a year or 2 years, and then you'll end up fucking up again. So I suggest people just get clear away from alcohol. There's other alternatives out here if you want to have a good time. I don't do any drugs, but I wouldn't mind doing, if you're the right age, above 21, and I would more suggest people like lean if they need something and they have to have something. Man, like, I feel like marijuana is a good alternative to alcohol. It's a way better alternative, honestly. But I'm not promoting that anyways, because I don't know who's all listening to this. I can't smoke because I got a job that drug tests, but eventually one day maybe I'll partake if I feel like I need something. But I feel really good right now. That's the only reason why I'm on here telling you guys this. I want you guys to feel the way what I feel, and man, I feel 1,000 times better than I did in my 20s when I was getting drunk every day. And I wasted so much time. I could have been in the gym. If I started going to the gym 5 years ago, if I would have been in the gym 10 years ago instead of all that drinking, all day hours, countless hours of drinking, I would be super swole right now. I'd be like an athlete in shape all the time and energy. If I would have got a part-time job and worked instead of drinking. Like, there's a bunch of things you could do instead of drinking that get your money up, treat your woman out to a nice dinner, and you don't have to get drinks. You could just go get some food and get some ice cream. That's what I like to do. I like to get ice cream instead of drinking. So, hey, treat myself once a week to maybe some ice cream or some fast food, and I'm winning. I'm good. So, I hope this helps somebody. I hope y'all, get sober. I hope y'all live a long, healthy life. And if I can do it, you can do it. And hey, shout out to anybody that stayed this long. I appreciate y'all support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate every one of you. And I'm just trying to grow this channel and help get the message out there and try to help people live a healthier life. And if I can help one person, that'd be great. If I can help 100 people, that'd be great. So hey, shout out to y'all that stay tuned. Till the next one.